All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are putting together the ultimate playbook for AI engineering. So if you've ever wanted to go from just a cool idea to a powerful, real-world AI application, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to be using the incredible framework from Chip Huion's AI engineering to guide us.
So everything really changed with what we all call the ChatGPT moment. As Chip Huion points out here, what seemed like a small jump in how good these models were didn't just nudge things forward, it kicked off a massive tidal wave of innovation. All of a sudden, building with AI wasn't just for a few elite labs anymore, it was at everyone's fingertips. But of course, this created a brand new challenge, right? How do you actually build these things professionally and make them reliable?
And that, my friends, is where AI engineering comes in. Look, we're not talking about building something like GPT-4 from the ground up. Instead, think of a big foundation model as this incredibly powerful all-purpose engine. AI engineering is the craft of taking that engine and building a specialized high-performance car around it, making it safe, reliable, and perfectly suited for whatever you need it to do.
All right, so here's the plan. We've got 5 key stages in our playbook. We'll start with why this is a whole new discipline, then we'll cover the most critical first step, evaluation. After that, we'll get into adapting the model, building the full system around it, and finally, the big one, what's your ultimate competitive advantage in this new world?
Okay, so first up, why do we even need a new playbook for this stuff? Well, the barrier to entry for building with AI has just completely collapsed. We've shifted from a world where only a handful of elite teams could pull this off to one where pretty much anyone with a good idea can get started. See, the challenge isn't about starting anymore, it's about finishing. It's about going from that cool demo to a professional, scalable app that people can actually count on. And for that, you need a new set of rules.
So, where do we even begin with this new playbook? Well, it starts with the most critical step of all, evaluation. And I'm not kidding. This is where almost everyone gets it wrong, right from the get-go. Getting this piece right is the single most important part of the whole process, and yet, it's the one that people skip over the most.
Most people, when they start, they ask some version of this question. Which model should I be using? Or which API is the best one? What features should I build first? The focus immediately jumps to the how.
But here's the thing. That's totally the wrong question to ask first. Focusing on the how before you know the what is a huge mistake. It's kind of like planning a road trip and you spend all your time arguing about which car to take before you've even picked a destination on the map. It just doesn't make sense.
And that brings us to the absolute core principle here, evaluation-driven development. It means that before you write a single line of code, before you choose a model, you have to stop and answer one simple question first. How will you know if you succeeded? You have to define what good actually means for your specific problem.
All right, so now we have our destination, right? We know how we're going to measure success. Only now do we get to talk about the engine. This next step is all about taking that general-purpose foundation model and really dialing it in, turning it into an expert for your specific task.
So when your model isn't doing what you want, its failures almost always boil down to one of two things. Is it an information gap? Does the model just not know the right stuff? Maybe its facts are outdated. Or is it a behavior gap, where it might know the facts, but it's just not following your instructions or the style or the format you need? And once you know which one it is, your path forward becomes super clear. For the information problem, you use a technique called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. Just think of it like giving your model a library it can check for facts. Simple. But for the behavior problem, you use fine-tuning, and that's more like teaching it a brand new skill or a very specific style.
Okay, awesome. Our engine is tuned and ready to go. But hey, an engine by itself isn't a car, right? You wouldn't take just an engine out on the highway. Now we have to build the rest of the vehicle around it, the chassis, the safety features, the steering, all of it, to make a complete, reliable application.
Look, a real professional AI system is way more than just a single call to a model. It's like a whole assembly line. You gotta feed it the right context, often with RAG. You need guardrails to keep things safe. You might route different tasks to different models to save money. You use caching to speed things up, and you can even build in logic for really complex, multi-step tasks. This whole system, this is what separates a weekend hack from a real product.
So you've done it. You've built this amazing, robust system. But here's the big question. In a world where everybody can use the same powerful models, how do you win? What's stopping your competitor from just copying everything you did in a week?
Well, let's start with what it's not. Your foundation model.
that is not your moat. These amazing models from OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, they're becoming powerful commodities. Anyone can get access.
Okay, what about your super clever prompts? Nope, those aren't your moat either. Sure, they're important, but your competitors are smart. They can and they absolutely will figure them out. It's a short-term advantage at best.
So if it's not the model and it's not the prompts, then what the heck is it? This is the secret. Your only real defensible advantage is the data flywheel you built. It's the constant flood of feedback you get from real people using your app. That data on what works, what breaks, what they actually want, that is something nobody else has. It is your ultimate unbeatable edge.
And really, that's the big takeaway from this whole playbook. Building a great AI product isn't just about having the best tech anymore. The real game now is designing the best system for learning. The challenge, and frankly, the massive opportunity, is to build a feedback loop that makes your application smarter and smarter with every single click. So the question I'll leave you with is, what unique feedback loop are you going to create?